Well, welcome everybody. I'm so excited to be here. This is your Wednesday Team Prosperity meeting, and today is November 27th, 2019. I'm so excited to be here with everybody today. I know Mike's got a great training set up, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to start with some announcements that are happening. So we'll go ahead and jump right into that. All right, so it's just such an exciting time at the end of the year right now. I hope big things are happening in your business, and I know they're definitely happening for everybody here on the team, and we're here to help every step of the way, so please don't hesitate to let us know how we can do that. Wanted to go over just a few announcements. Everybody that's logged into their WFG recently has seen this annual compliance certification. It's basically just a WFG brochure, clicking through it and, agreeing to their terms and conditions. Real easy to do right when you log in to WFG. You only have to do it once. The other thing is, everybody that's writing business already, I want you to go into your My WFG, hit the suitcase, go to reports, run your licensing and appointments report and see when your anti-money laundering is going to expire. They're saying it's November 29th. Most of the time we have until the end of the year. So take a peek at that. If you need my help looking at that, let me know. You should have another month to get that done, but keep an eye on that because that could, jeopardize business that you have out. And I just learned that November is Entrepreneurship Month. It's a little bit late, but still kind of exciting. So I'm not sure if anybody saw anything about that. But it's happening right now. And as many of you know, there was like a tech glitch with Julie Stewart's training, and she's very, very sorry. That's rescheduled about creating lifetime income with Julie Stewart from Crump. That's going to be rescheduled for Monday, December 16th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. She is going to do it from her own Zoom conference, so we'll get that out closer to the time. So anybody that was on that, we apologize, and she's deeply sorry as well. There was just a tech issue. A few other exciting things. The Trendsetter Super improved their pricing again, which is really, really cool. If you want to know more, you all should be getting these emails as well. I've got copies of everything if you need it, and background reviews. So since we went to WFG launch at the beginning of the year, we no longer ask the background questions like we used to. So this is just a little bit of information about background review. So it looks like in the past year, they've completed more than 102,000 background reviews with an average turnaround time of less than 24 hours for non-licensed and 2 or 3 days for licensed agents. And of course, because of privacy laws, they can't tell us what's going on in somebody's background. They would reach out to that recruit directly, but there's a note. There's certain backgrounds that are rejected, right? Felonies in the last 10 years for theft, fraud, or violent crimes, as well as those individuals with accounts and collections of more than $50,000. So just to kind of keep that in mind as we're, looking for the best fit and hiring top talent, we want to kind of keep mindful of that. And then a few exciting things, new products are coming. Final expense really is not like our sweet spot in the market, but it does come up from time to time where that is the only thing that, somebody can qualify for. And it's exciting that we're going to have 2 additional options from Transamerica coming soon about that. If you want more details, let me know. I've got brochures and things like that about this. And once they roll out, maybe we'll do additional training on that if there's a demand for it. But that's really what I had to cover today. Just wanted to go over those few little things that are happening. And I'm going to go ahead and grab Mike. Give me just 1 second.
All right, you guys, day before Thanksgiving, I appreciate you guys being on. Of course, this will be recorded and posted, emailed out. All we're going to do today is just the continuation and the ending of what we started last week, which was opening, continuing, directing conversations. Now we're going to talk about closing those conversations as well as handling objectives. I don't think this is going to go the full time today. I didn't want to throw too much in here on top of what I wanted to talk about. So we're just going to open with a couple of graphics, and then we'll get that right down into the language. So like we said, today is day before Thanksgiving. You're coming up on Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. Power through this time of year. It can have immediate impacts, but also, like I said in the message, springboard the 2020 year, which, guys, please understand that 2020 and 2021 are going to be huge years for this company. You need to understand the company growth curve, where we're at, and establish yourself with activity that you can kind of ride that momentum. 3 of the phrases that we've really been talking about is, do you know how money works? It's a great conversation opener for people in this industry or even outside of this industry. It doesn't matter. We're all being affected by this new digital environment, so we want to know, what is your digital plan? Most people have 0. And then what's the consequence of not having a digital plan over the next, let's say, 4 or 5 years? It's lots of consequences there. And then finally, it doesn't matter how long or how short the conversation is. If it's coming to an end point where there'll be no more continuation of that conversation in the future, just throw this out there. One last question, if you don't mind me asking, do you pay out of pocket for term life insurance? If you ask that, trust me, that is going to be money coming in. If you have enough conversations per month, this could be an extra $3,000+ to you, depending on ages, premiums they're paying. There's tens of millions of policies out here that need to be replaced. We're just trying to get into conversations where we're asking that continuously, because as that stuff does come up, if you find somebody in the upgrade window, it's pretty easy when laid out. This is what you have. This is what you can possibly have. Does this make sense? Okay, let's move forward with the application. All we're trying to do is create a playbook, and your playbook should have offensive and defensive plays in there. If you were the coach of a team, you not only have to know how to have your own plays, but how to counteract the plays on the other side. I'm a big Duke basketball fan. Last night, they lost non-conference game at home for the first time in 2 decades. Coach Case, after game press conference, said we deserve to lose. So we deserve to get whatever we put into this. And the main thing that I want you guys to take out of this today, if you're putting the activity and you're finding solutions for people, you deserve to get paid for that. Number one reason why businesses struggle, they fail to overcome objections with those close or what would be almost clients or customers. This is a big deal, because you find a lot of those people that if you would have gone the extra distance, overcome the objectives, and closed them down, they not only would have been clients, but satisfied clients. So it's not in the budget. How do I know it works? Yeah, but will it work for me? I've never heard of you before. I already use something similar. These are those kind of generalizations and how to overcome those. We're going to get into direct language here in just a minute. Sales objections, whether it's budget, whether it's the authority, the need, the timeliness, or the value, you've got to demonstrate unique value, identify the customer's concerns, take time to describe the problem or the opportunity, demonstrate why it's best to take action right now, urgency, and then introduce specific perks, guarantees, or other things that are associated with the policy or business opportunity. Remember, on the business opportunity side, we're not really rebuttaling. We're not overcoming many objectives there. Now, you do have to, if you're in front of somebody, you're like, man, this person would make a great partner for my organization, you're going to have to go a little bit further if they have some more in-depth questions and things. But ultimately, any of this stuff that we're teaching today can be used on the business opportunity side as well as the client side. What I really feel that we're failing as a team right now, really as a company, is on the client side, closing down some sales, because I think we're taking that nonchalant attitude for the business partner opportunity into the client side, and that's where we have to tighten things up, because that's direct money for you, direct organizational growth, promotions, bonuses, the things that you guys are looking for. Remember, you've got a pain point, and we're offering a solution, and you've got to diagnose the reasons, you've got to explore the impact, and you've got to visualize capabilities. during the conversation, you have to open, control, and confirm. All you're doing throughout this whole process is taking a pain point that's been uncovered and leading them to a buying decision. It's not very hard. If you have a solution that works and you've done the time, the research, gotten in front of them, and it works for them, they pass the litmus test, they can afford it, we think they can medically qualify, it's suitable, you deserve to be paid for that effort, for that solution that you have brought to the client side. Never, ever, ever ask why. So if somebody says, no, I don't think I'm going to do this right now, if you say why, that's going to put them in a very defensive position. Why is what children ask their parents when they want to be real annoying. Now, you want to know why, but you can't come out there and directly say why, because that puts the other side in a defensive position. You've got to come up with some other language to expose the reason so you can overcome those objectives or overcome or clarify those misunderstandings and get them back into, the rotation of where you need them to be to end up with a sale. The original reason somebody gives you, for example, I'll give you guys an example. Somebody might say when it comes to, if they, on a business partner side, they might come to the tier 2, and when it gets time to pay, if they don't have the money, they're not going to say, most people aren't going to say, I don't have $200. They're going to come up, well, I need more information. I need to know more about this. I want to see the contract. And these are all deflections so that they don't have to come, into saying, hey, I don't have $200. So the surface level, what somebody's actually giving you might be just a deflection. You got to find the symptom. You get a little bit closer, and you're going to find the true root cause. Whether it's a partner or a client, realize that you have to get to the underlying cause of the objection. And then ultimately, we want to educate. Yes, we come from a point of financial education, financial literacy, but it gets, and if you start to over-educate your clients, it's going to put them into a state of paralysis, because over-education can cause the prospect to lose momentum. If the client doesn't want to hear about X, Y, or Z, you don't really need to bring it up. The only reason you're educating clients is to secure a buying decision, and that's very important. So if there's a rebuttal or an objection, you don't go with more education. You find the root cause of that objection and overcome it until there's none left. So before we go into the actual language, I just want to make sure that you guys understand, if we were a company, and let's say today was payday, you were a W-2 employee, and you did not get paid, you're going to be asking, hey, where's my paycheck? Why didn't I get paid? You're going to be upset about it. I think that coming into this on a commission-based environment, that we're okay sometimes in the beginning, not getting paid. You should never be okay with not getting paid. If you're putting time, energy, resources into this company, into this opportunity, you should definitely get paid. So we're going to talk about some things that you can add to what we did last Wednesday, and I'll send the PowerPoint out again, and hopefully create a playbook for yourself that's got answers on the offense as well as defense. First thing you need to do is ask for the sale. And I think that sounds simple enough, but a lot of us don't do that. So once you're confident in the solution you're providing to the prospect, it's time to ask for that sale. Of course, we want to make sure the prospect feels comfortable, but don't be afraid to communicate urgency you might be feeling to move the deal forward. Remember, the best time to close somebody is when you've got them right there. If you've got a solution that works, let's not follow up. Let's try to close them right then and there. Remember, they've got to get approved. It's an application. And then through that process leading up to asking for the sale, you want to assume the close, what's called the assumptive close, and then arrange the next step. Remember, we always talk about it doesn't matter what you know, and it doesn't matter what the other side knows. That's what we tell people coming in. You might not know a lot about our business, but you can be the most confident person on that phone. And if you are, you're going to lead the conversation. And so that's arranging the next step. Finalize, signing the contract, any additional paperwork. Set your new client up for success with resources, information about their product. Before they buy, before they apply, if you guys are overwhelming them with videos about all of these different products, 8 videos about living benefits, that's not the way you're supposed to approach. That stuff comes after they've signed the dotted line. It goes to underwriting. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Client, if you would like to know more about the product you're applying for, I'm going to send you some videos. Feel free to watch those and ask me any questions that you might have. I think we use the videos as like the eject button. If we feel uncomfortable, if it's time to close the sale, if it's time to handle objections, we'll just say, hey, let me just send you the videos and follow up. And then, normally what happens is those people aren't around. You're following up with them for 2, 3, 4 weeks before you finally dump them. Create urgency, ask for the sale, assume the close, and arrange the next steps. So asking for the sale and sales closing questions. The sales closing questions are used to seal the deal, and that's it. Questions require direct answers. So you're not asking them a roundabout question, and you're not asking them something where you're going to almost interrupt yourself and not give them time to answer. If you're asking them an uncomfortable question, you have to be willing to sit there in uncomfortable silence sometimes and force them to answer. If you're asking them an uncomfortable question and you immediately just start talking on if you don't get an answer within a second or two, you got to work on that. So it looks like we've answered all the questions. Shall we move forward with this? I didn't answer from them, right? You said you want to get this done and off the to-do list. Let's figure out what needs to be done today. Okay? They got to answer. Help me understand your process and how you make decisions. So if somebody's kind of not really giving you clear direction on where they want to go, help me understand how you normally handle a buying process, how you make your decisions. Make them tell you stuff. Is there any reason, if we gave you what you're looking for, that you wouldn't do business with our company today? And that's really important. So if you're going to give somebody a solution to the problem they have and it makes sense for them, why in the world would they not do business with you? Sometimes you have to ask them that. Let's move forward with this. Stay quiet. Make them answer. Yes, no, okay, that sounds good, whatever it might be. It seems like whatever product or service you have in front of them is a good fit for you. What do you think? Force them to participate in the conversation and give you feedback, because a lot of times that feedback will give you some objections they have, and it might be a valid objection or it might just be a misunderstanding. The misunderstandings, as you'll see a little bit later, are very, very easy to clear up. If we could find a way to deal with whatever their objection is, would you apply today, tomorrow, whatever it might be? So that's the thing. If you're handling objectives, once you pick off an objective and it's no longer an objection, then you just go down the list. If somebody has 3 or 4 and you overcome all 3 or 4 of those, well, guess what? Now they're in a position where they really don't have much left. They can go into the application. Would you like my help? Would you like me to help you with this situation? You know, I'm here right now. I'm a licensed professional. Would you like help with this situation? Taking all of the requirements and desires into consideration, I think that these 2 products will work best. Would you like to go with X or Y? So if you're presenting like a term of living benefits and an IUL as far as protection and accumulation, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Client, this would work or this would work. What works better for you? Done deal. Let's go to the application. Shall we proceed? I hate to see, you know, that negative consequence happen because you didn't have the right product in place. Do you want to take the crucial step to protect you and your family today? We don't want to use like the fear tactic, but we want to get them thinking. You know, just in our organization over the past few years, we've had heart attacks that kill people, heart attacks with quadruple bypass. We've had ALS, leukemia, cancer, strokes. And, you know, and this is just from a small startup company team that's, you know, 4 or 5 years old. So this is important. We don't like to think about getting sick, getting hurt, getting ill, but if that happened, you know, are you potentially going to be in a position where you're going to take care of yourself and your family, or by not acting on this today, potentially screwing you and your family in the future? Why don't you apply and see if this is an option? Remember, our life products are medically underwritten. The annuity on the life side is financially underwritten. It is underwritten. You have to apply. And that's a great question. Why don't you just see it? Why don't you just apply and see if this is an option? Get some skin in the game from them. Get them in with an application. If there's a medical involved, get the medical done, and then come back and reclose if necessary. I know you said you need to have a solution in place. Does this work? Once again, you are forcing them to take part in the conversation and expose what they're thinking, what their objections are, what they possibly don't understand. Will you commit to doing business with me, us today? You're asking for the sale, guys, and I think that's a lot of times what we fail to do. We go through the whole process of educating, of talking, of explaining, but we're not valuing our time enough. If you've done your job, ask for the sale. You deserve to get paid. Ready to move forward? I can assist you with the application. What happens next? So if you've got one of those things where the conversation seems stuck, they're not really communicating back and forth with you, you're asking them questions, you're not really getting a response that makes sense to you, just force them to tell you what happens next. That's a weird question, but it forces them, well, what do you mean? What happens next? I mean, I've got a solution for you. I'm putting it out in front of you. It makes sense. It's affordable. All of these things, we got all the requirements taken care of. What happens next? I know X is a really big priority for most people. This solution will really be able to help you meet your goals. Do you believe I understand your current needs and future goals? Right there, you're asking them, do they believe that you're the person that can help them? From a scale of 1 to 10, how ready are you to apply for X? And then if it's low, why is it low? If it's high, send them. What else can I tell you? A lot of times we get to that point where, listen, I've explained this to you. We've gone through. What else can I tell you to help you make a decision? Unless you have more questions or concerns, I think we're ready to get started. I'm excited to work with you. Let's discuss what happens next. Remember, if you frame the conversation and you tell people what's going to happen on the front end, it's a lot easier for them to follow your lead because you've already given them a map. This is what we're going to do today. Tell me your thoughts. Once again, forcing them to interact in the conversation. Let's get you signed up. We can take as long as you like, but I've got another meeting at X time. This call is scheduled to wrap up in Y minutes. With that in mind, maybe we should move to the actual application. Right there, you're telling, hey, we got limited time. We've done what we needed to do today. The last thing on the list is the application. We need to get that done before we get off the phone. When can we begin the application, the process, whatever it might be? You're demanding a time frame from them. If we were to start an application, would you feel confident applying? Have I done enough to earn your business today? Once again, a lot of this is just making sure they understand that you're providing a service and that we're expecting to get paid for that if we do a good job. So have I done enough to earn your business today? We've been playing phone tag for a while now. I'm assuming that this is not a priority for you. What does this protection mean to you? What does it mean for your family? Getting them to think about, okay, when this is in place and this is off the checklist of things that need to get done, how does it feel? How do we go forward with a sigh of relief that knows if we have those things that strike us in our family, we've got protection, if that's what we're talking about. Which of the following are you most interested in learning more about? Do you currently have a budget allocated for this solution, or are we going to have to make one? What's your budget for this solution? Is whatever the price range within your budget. What are the best days, times to follow up with you for the next step throughout this process? Remember, you're always, if it's not going to be in that call, you're always setting the expectations of what's going to happen next, and you guys are getting on a defined timeline and making sure they realize this is a calendar event that I'm blocking time off for. I expect you to be there. Value your time. That's a big thing for us. Is there anyone else in your company that you like or need to include in this discussion? So if it's a small agency, if it's a person, kind of reroute that or reword that question to make it make sense. A lot of times for us, it's the spouse. So if the spouse needs to be on here, let's get the spouse on here. Don't let the person that you're talking to leave it up to them to explain everything to their spouse, because I guarantee you 100% they're not going to be able to answer the spouse's questions, and a lot of what you said is going to get lost in translation, and it's not going to sound nearly as appealing as when you said it. One of the most common issues we keep hearing about is blank. Is that an issue for you? What is your timeline for making a decision? What are your biggest priorities right now? What's prompting you to do something about this challenge opportunity now? Once again, a lot of this stuff can be reworded for business partnership and client. A lot of what I want to talk about today was client. What's prompting you to do something about this? How urgent is the issue? Are you exploring any other options or consulting with any other solution in our industry? That tells you if they're talking to other people, you want to get information about what they know, what they've heard, and what options they're considering, so you can, go through and make sure they understand the advantages of working with you on a customer service level and on a product level as well. What is it about whoever the competitor is that has you considering them, whether it's a partner looking at multiple opportunities inside the industry, or it's a client looking at working with a financial advisor or some other company? What is it about them that has you considering them? Might just be that somebody called them up and got in front of them, or it might be specific things that you can help overcome. What is the best way to communicate with you going forward? I want to know, if I reach out to you, what's the best way that I get an immediate answer? Is it going to be text, email, or a direct call? Do you have any concerns that I can address at this time? Based on what I've described, do you believe what I'm able to offer can address your needs? You're forcing them into conversation, forcing them to answer. Does this sound like something that would be beneficial to you and your family? Right now, what would you say could stop us from working together and moving forward? Once again, you're getting that information so you can overcome those objectives. I suggest we move ahead and start the process. That way we can get an answer as soon as possible. If there's nothing holding us back, let's get going. Do you have any concerns about how our product service would work? Are you all set to review the application? If we find an option in your price, is there any reason you wouldn't work with me today? And then lastly, has our service lived up to your expectations? We go over and beyond for a lot of these clients, and I've seen you guys do it and get nothing back out of it. So what they need to realize is, yes, we offer free services, but we still make a living off servicing the clientele, offering solutions to their problems, and finding products that fit into those solutions that we can get them into. And then handling objectives. You should welcome objections. Objections are basically just a way for a prospect to express their needs and desires. They are in a roundabout way telling you exactly what they want, and it's often just a request for more information. Don't be afraid of the objection. If there's no objections, you should be more worried about that than objections. Objections are buying questions. There are two types. We talked about these before. Misunderstandings. Those are easily cleared up by asking the client how they interpreted the information and then explaining the actual situation to them. Very easy. But if you don't bring that up, you'll never know there were misunderstandings. You get off the phone, and that misunderstanding was never cleared up. During this time, if somebody doesn't understand what you said the first time around, slow down, speak slowly, speak clearly, make sure they're following you, continue to say, does that make sense? Do you understand this? Don't get flustered and speed up. That's the worst thing you can do. And then the other objections are actually the valid objections. These are triggered by the fear of making the wrong decision. And guys, when you're talking to people, that's what they're fearful of. They would rather not make a decision than make the wrong decision. So you have to understand human psychology, how people think. This is typically the last step in the buying process. In sales, an objection should be welcome as a sign they're actually ready to buy. For operations, an objection likely indicates a prospect fear or concern for the unknown. That's a lot of times on the business opportunity side. They're coming in, they have no idea really what we're doing, how we operate, what they're going to get out of this. So it depends on client or business. But the valid objections, these are definitely something that you should welcome as an opportunity to clear up and close. So the first thing you want to do is listen to the objection. You want to make sure you're not giving them information that has nothing to do with the objections just to overpower the conversation. It's going to shut them down. You shut that conversation off very quickly. Repeat the objection. So, Mr. and Mrs. Client, so what you're saying is that you do not feel you can X, Y, or Z. Just repeat it and make sure to confirm. Yes, that's correct. Acknowledge their concern. That's a reasonable concern. That's a concern that a lot of people have. Number 4, clarify the objection by asking a question. Do you see the value in the product I recommend, or are you concerned about the cost? Let's get down to the root of it. Is it that you can't afford it, or you don't see the value in buying it? Because those are two different things, and we can talk about both those things and take those things into a different direction to overcome that. Explain your answer, explain what's going on, explain why you're telling them this, and stop. Does that make sense? Are you understanding this? Does this clarify? And then verify that you have cleared the objection. And that's really what this is all about. Does that answer the question for you? And then move on. Don't just stop there. Continue to direct the conversation to the close. For each objection, repeat the process. Somebody got 3 objections, and you one by one pick them off, and there's none left. Guess what? Probably going to be an application going in. If you pick off one of the 3 and don't bother on the other 2 and say, I'll follow up with you, you're going to pay the price for that. Is the objection a problem that can be reframed as an opportunity, a weakness that can be reframed as a strength, or poor timing that can be reframed as perfect timing? So if you've got objections, pick them off one by one until there's none left. And then, demonstrate urgency. No matter what you're doing, partner side, client side, work with a sense of urgency, and that will lead the other side to a sense of urgency as well. And demonstrate to that. If you're frustrated at the lack of the response, from their side, but you wait 2 weeks to reach out, you're not demonstrating urgency. Increase the frequency of your attempts to reach the contact. When you make multiple calls in one day, you got to leave a voicemail. If you don't leave a voicemail, your calls can be interpreted as passive aggressive. So here are some outreach ideas for your calls. I just wanted to follow up on the status of getting the application completed, moving on to the app, whatever it might be. Do you have any feedback from the meeting? Do I have the correct whatever information for it? So you're trying to get them to open up and continue that conversation. Make it clear to them that the lack of response is not changing the status of the deal. If somebody comes to you and says, hey, I just had a kid. We need to get insurance. I just bought a house. To get mortgage protection. The fact that they're kind of not communicating with you, backing away, it does not change the status of the deal. They still need that product, and your job is to get that product to them. The key point is to remember with a frequent touch approach is that you have to leave a voicemail. Let them know, hey, I'm calling. We got to get this done. What's the status of this? When are we going to do this? This gives them an opportunity to reach back out. And like I said, if you've got urgency in the beginning and the follow-up is not there, all of that urgency you created on the front end is gone. Ask for help. So if you've got a client, especially if this is a good deal for you and your organization, it fits the client's needs, good sale for you, and you're not getting anywhere, it could be you, your personality, who knows? Could not be any of those things. But don't be afraid to ask for help. We're all a team here. Ask a partner, a teammate if they can give you a hand with the deal. Let them know the prospect has been out of the communication loop, has not responded to your emails or calls. Then the other way that it's being handled is now somebody else is coming with a fresh voice, a fresh number, and they can check in on your behalf. This gives the prospect another opportunity to respond, get the deal moving again. These strategies can turn what we call stalled deals from frustrating to promising and finally get you over the finish line. So sometimes, guys, a fresh voice, a fresh number, a fresh perspective, could get that deal going back. So lean on each other. We're all a team here. Even if I'm not any part of your sale, I'm more than willing to help you out, try to get that sale for you and your organization. And the last thing we want to talk about today, like I said, we're closing a little bit early. I just want to make sure that we didn't put too much in here, concentrated on that closing language, the objections. You guys should be thankful for health, home, family, friends, food, but also a little bit more specific to what we're doing over here. Be thankful for the opportunity that you have right in front of you. And like I said, the next 24 months is going to be an incredible ride. A lot of I have been here 5 years, over 3 years on a full-time basis. This is the period of time 5 years ago I came in for. Kind of been like Christmas. I've been waiting around for it, and everything's in place. All you guys have to do is have activity, be accountable, be data-driven, and learn how to, like we've been talking about, open, continue, direct, and close conversations. If you are working and you are providing solutions in the marketplace that work for the other side, you deserve to be paid for that. Ask for it. Ask for the sale. Ask for the close. Ask for the application. And if there's objections, find out if it's misunderstandings or valid objections. Clarify the misunderstandings. Make sure they understand now. On the valid objections, pick those off one by one until there's none left. Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. We'll open it up for questions here at the end. If you guys need any help on a one-on-one basis, by all means, let us know. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mike. That was a great meeting. Let me go ahead and turn off the recording, and then we can open it up for